Bringing yourself back to calmness is not always easy. One must have a foundation, a remembrance of who you are, hidden away, very deep, but very accessible. Bringing yourself back to calmness is not easy. Who you are must be hid very carefully, but also be accessible. You must walk backwards, back to who you are, and not get closer to the edge, where you can find an abyss below you that is conflict, chaos, pain, agony, anger. All of these things can work very much against you when you are trying to be calm or go back into being calm as you remember yourself being. It requires one to look beyond the scope of their current circumstances and look back to who they truly are. Because one step on the path away from calmness is one step away from being able to be calm. Calmness is a virtue no matter what path you're on, no matter how you identify yourself. Calmness is virtue. It is something that you should be able to do and work on and work toward when you are not calm. There's a lot of agitation for human emotions. There's a lot of agitators to bring the calmness away from us and to toss us into chaos. External stimuli that causes this to happen is vast, but it can be compared to a mountain that stands sturdy and by itself, no matter what winds assail it, no matter which direction, no matter the intensity of the wind, but we remain the mountain. And whatever your calmness is regarding your path, it is good to think of yourself as not only a mountain, but a stonecutter, someone who can chisel their calmness into something sustainable, important to yourself, and something that is easily brought into your mind space, to the surface of your mind. Calmness is the ideal situation to work on yourself spiritually or magically or do anything in the world. Whether it's your job, whether it's working with your family, the fellowship of the family, or whether it's some kind of societal regimen or association with society or your spiritual path. Calmness is important for all these things because in calmness, no matter what we're going to do, we can be the person who makes good decisions based on coming from a level playing field. You want your football field to be well mown, flat, so that you can play the game of life. Now, the mind can be kicked around by various players, but it's much easier to operate on a level playing field. Sure, going from calmness to something very violent or angry may seem like going from a level playing field into a very unlevel one. But even if you're going to feel those emotions and express them, it's important to have a level of playing field. And also a defensive playing field, which means that you hesitate before making too many goals or going towards the other goal line and hitting your thoughts hitting your mind, hitting your efforts into the goal that is the other side of where you want to be. Now, the mind is an interesting place. Cheetah, mind stuff, is very much like that level playing field. And the kicks that we make, the understanding that we have of ourselves, and the techniques that we do to place these kicks are all something that can be within our ability to control. So that when we do feel these extreme emotions, we can feel them in a way that is very deliberate. It's very important to be able to be on a playing field where you can be a deliberate person as far as who you are and make deliberate actions and not do something or become something or feel something that is beyond your control. This is hard for most people. This is hard for the vast majority of the human race because we're not conditioned to control ourselves in the best ways possible. And these are all individualistic ways. Controlling ourselves, not somebody else controlling us with laws, rules, virtues. To control yourself, you have to have a mastery of your inner environment. If you do not have that mastery, then you cannot control your emotions, you cannot control your actions, and you cannot control the plan of your life that you create, assuming that you do it deliberately and are not completely influenced by other people. Calmness is a still ocean. Anger, hate, greed, conflict. These things are cyclones that pass over our still waters. They do so quickly. They do so in a way that is not fundamental to our nature. And they do so out of a force of their own that is opposite of the force of stillness. Stillness and calmness are one and the same. Stillness of mind is calm. Even if you have a very important task to do, let's say even you're in war and you have to go attack this position, what have you, stillness is what you should be on the inside in order to accomplish this goal. If you are going to a job interview and it's one that you really need and you're really nervous about, stillness and calmness is where you should come from. Because even when you are not still, you are not calm, it's very important to project such things. And you should at least be able to, the first step is being able to simulate calmness, stillness, even if you don't quite have it. You must seem like the ocean waters that may be turbulent beneath, but are very calm on the surface. And that is the first step, the appearance of calmness and stillness. And then the ability to actually do so, to manifest this within yourself. It might seem weird to say, just look calm, and then later you can actually become calm. But when we're dealing with exterior factors, when we're dealing with society and other people, the appearance of such things will bring us more peace. And even those who are frustrated with us because we seem so calm and still, dealing with them while still seeming calm and at peace and still is very important to leading to actual stillness and calmness, because the world is that which we engage with. And if you can engage in a calm and still way, you are very close to actually being able to be still and calm. Calmness is a luxury many people do not have. Other people require force to be pressed against them in order to either leave somebody alone or for you to get them to do something. There is force that is required many times. But rather than a cyclone or a tornado or something like that, it can be this huge wave that's going across your ocean, still, but vast. Not chaotic, but also powerful. Not choppy waters, but very large effort going towards a person in order to make them do what you want, or in order to respond in a way that you remain as you are, rather than it being enforced upon you. Because when somebody else is making you still and calm, it is trying to cage a cyclone or tornado. Sure, you can put a cage around it, but ultimately everything comes back. Everything will come to fruition. Calmness is also related to peace in the sense that if the world was filled with calm people, even with their own motives, then at the very least, everybody would know where each other stands. And even more so, everybody would be able to really know their own motivations, which would honestly cause fewer wars, more peace. Because if you truly know your own motivations and how to enact them, because you're coming from a calm place, then even if you have different views or opinions or efforts towards other groups, the very least, you have a station from which to act, rather than a station from which to respond. Do not be a responsive person. Be a person of action, regardless of response. Do not be reflexive. Do not be poked and then act immediately. Act only when you have decided inwardly a course of action. Calmness is the basis for every single path that you may walk, even a chaotic path, because you want to make the ocean your mind stuffed cheetah. You want to make that. If you want to make it a storm, if you want to make it very powerful, a huge wave on the surface of humanity, then you can only do that effectively and choose the direction of that wave by being calm before you form it. Meditation helps with calmness. Certain techniques help with calmness. But first, it must be a deep desire, not a flimsy one, not one that passes easily, but calmness must be a deep, inherent desire of yours in order to achieve it. Otherwise, you will always go by half measures. So be calm, brothers and sisters. Become yourself by being deliberate. Become yourself by being someone who acts from a place of power rather than acting in response to others. Thank you very much for listening and watching. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to shoot them at in the comment section below, or you can message me on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Hunter Salazar, HUNTER Salazar. You can contact me on Messenger if you want any advice or you want to talk about this. Anybody who's polite, I will respond. At any rate, thank you very much for listening and watching, and I hope all of you have a calm and wonderful day.